The 2024-2025 Canadian Premier League offseason is well underway. After Cavalry finally won their first ever Canadian Premier League championship 2 months ago, we have had 2 months of offseason, teams making moves, a lot of players out that are free agents right now, but I want to talk about the transfers that have occurred, signings that have happened, and outgoing transfers to other leagues, as teams fall into the preliminary stages of starting to shape their rosters for the upcoming season, trying to make themselves competitive going into 2025 with the hopes of usurping defending champs Cavalry. And right off the bat, at the beginning of the offseason, very early on in December, we had one of the biggest pieces of transfer news we could have in the Canadian Premier League. Ollie Basset left Atletico Ottawa and the league to join the Tampa Bay Rowdies in the USL Championship. Ollie Basset, what a legendary player in the Canadian Premier League, won a 2021 CPL title with Pacific FC, won the 2022 regular season with Atletico Ottawa in a year where he won Player of the Year and Players Player of the Year, and was the Golden Boot winner in 2023. Over the past 3 years, Ollie Basset has consistently been one of the most dangerous attacking players in the Canadian Premier League and has been a key part of Atletico Ottawa's attack. However, after 3 years in the capital, he is now leaving to go to the USL Championship, the United States second-tier league with the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Tampa Bay, a competitive team in that league. They made it to the conference semi-finals last year, the second round of the playoffs, and 3 rounds back of the USL Championship finals. And he hopefully will provide an offensive push for the Rowdies to go and be competitive and push for a USL Championship title next season. Now, this is a massive loss for Ottawa as they lose the guy who has been their main man for the past 3 seasons. They've put up a freaking Hollywood sign for him. This is a fan favorite player and is going to be a massive hole to fill in the midfield. Now, Manny Aparicio, who already came in last season, is a sort of similar type of player, small, central offensive midfielder, but Ollie Basset, season in, season out, has been one of the best in the league the past 3 years, and regardless of who you replace him with, he will be missed. Sticking with outgoing transfers from Ottawa, the super team has been broken up, as Mateo De Brienne was sold transfer fee and all to Gais in the Swedish top flight. Mateo De Brienne joined Ottawa at the start of the 2024 season as part of them building up their 2024 super team after he won the 2023 U21 Canadian Player of the Year award with Valor FC. A very promising young talent. 1 year of Ottawa seems to have been enough for De Brienne to have grabbed European attention as he now goes off to the Swedish Allsvenskan, which is becoming a sort of popular spot for Canadian Premier League players to go to Europe, as this is the same route that Marco Bustos took, and he's been playing in that league for a couple of years. Very solid left wing back / left back for Ottawa last season. Helped them come third in the regular season and make a semi-final appearance. Great player, and he was the guy who you knew eventually was going to get a move out of the CPL and onto bigger things, and there you go, he gets his move to Europe, going to Sweden. Hopefully he can continue his development there and continue on an upward trajectory, as he has been one of the brighter players the CPL has produced in recent years, and it's going to be great to see how he does abroad. Moving on to another player outgoing from Ottawa, another young talent outgoing from Ottawa, but this one staying within the CPL. Rayane Yesli, the young goalkeeper, moving from Atletico Ottawa to the Halifax Wanderers. Rayane Yesli, very interesting signing by Ottawa last season after they already had a starting level keeper in Nathan Ingham. They brought in Yesli from Valor FC after Yesli was nominated for the 2023 Golden Glove Award in the Canadian Premier League. However, Yesli could not cut it as the starter in Ottawa, making only 8 appearances in the Canadian Premier League this season and being the number 2 behind Nathan Ingham most of the year. Now, Yesli, of course, is a keeper who has already been nominated for a Goalkeeper of the Year award when he was a starter with Valor, so makes sense that on a free now he would move to the Halifax Wanderers, a team where he should start. And the Wanderers get a good starting level keeper in the Canadian Premier League. This is a guy who hopefully should give them a top 4, top 5 keeper in the Canadian Premier League, and a guy who between the sticks is going to keep them competitive. Great pickup for Halifax as they look to rebound from a very poor 2024, and just a solid signing for both them, who they get a solid keeper, and for Yesli, who really got stuck behind Ingham at Ottawa and now gets another shot to be a starter elsewhere. Sticking with the Wanderers, another incoming signing for them, Thomas Meilleur-Giguère has been brought in from Pacific FC. The center back has been one of the better defenders in the Canadian Premier League for the past 3 seasons now. He's been a mainstay of that Pacific backline for the past 3 years, and he's switching coasts from Pacific to the Atlantic, going to the Wanderers. Now, this is a very key signing for the Wanderers, as Dan Nimick is a free agent, and all reports are showing that he will not be returning to the Wanderers next season, which is a massive loss for them, as he has been one of the better defenders in the Canadian Premier League the past 2 seasons and was their top scorer last season as a center back, even though most of those goals were from penalties, but still a very solid piece leaving the Wanderers. And that is Meilleur-Giguère's shoes to fill. Massive shoes to fill for him, but a solid no-win center back in the Canadian Premier League coming in is never a bad sign. He will be a welcome addition to the Wanderers backline this season, as both Meilleur-Giguère and Yesli will be tasked with stopping the leaking. And finally, the last move of note for December in the Canadian Premier League, and a guy coming from abroad back to the Canadian Premier League, a familiar name, Ronan Kratt, is joining Pacific FC. Ronan Kratt, son of one of the Kratt brothers who famously was in the kids show Zaboomafoo, is returning to the Canadian Premier League after 2 years abroad in Germany. Back in the 2022 season, he made 14 appearances, scoring 2 goals for York United, putting up a pretty solid showing for the Nine Stripes, and got himself a move to Werder Bremen's reserve team in Germany. Now, he played the second half of the 2022-2023 season with them, getting relegated from the 4th tier down to the 5th tier in Germany, but he lit up the German 5th tier the next season, scoring 9 goals in 17 games and helping Werder Bremen's reserve side get promoted back up to the 4th tier yet again. Now, after starting the season with Werder Bremen, he requested a termination of his contract to come back to Canada, and now he is joining Pacific FC. Very solid winger pickup for Pacific FC. Kratt's the guy who should be able to pop in a couple of goals, create some offense for you. He is a very decent pickup and a very exciting young player, and still only 21 years old. A lot of room for growth and development with him, as he definitely could turn into a very solid player in the Canadian Premier League. He'll be a bit of a dark horse heading into this season to really see just how much he can provide the Pacific offense, but he's a guy who could be a key piece for them. So there you have it so far. A couple teams making a lot of transfers and a lot more unknowns on the horizon. A lot of free agents out there in the Canadian Premier League so far. I'm sure in the next couple months we're going to see a boatload of signings as all teams retool for the coming 2025 season. But what we do know for certain is the Atletico Ottawa super team is breaking up, and the Wanderers are retooling. That is for this video. As always, if you'd like to hit like if you see more of my stuff, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, link is down below in the description, and I will see you next time.